Guys, we put up here on the board, right here, at the beginning of the game, we said love wins. Guys, we've said it since January. We are not going to let someone put an expectation on us, or a standard on us, or a result on us that defines our success. Fellas, we won because you guys loved each other. We won because you committed to each other. We won because when times got hard, man, y'all dudes ain't back down. These tears of joy, dog. These are tears of joy right here. I ain't disappointed one bit. We left everything out there. Everything. And man, I'm so happy for you guys. I'm so proud of you guys. Man, I love you guys. You got me for life, man. Because you loved each other. You loved us. You loved me. You loved Fletch. On down the line. That ain't no loss for us, man. That ain't no loss. Man, I'm so proud of y'all dudes, man. Because you loved each other.
It's a hard show to do, man.
Very hard.
It's a hard one to do. I think that clip is appropriate because that's who our brother was.
It embodies, it embodies who he was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Always caring about everybody but himself. Always. Since I'm hearing this earlier today, I just keep hearing, keep the main thing. And I know you'll remember that, Andre, when
absolutely
we were together when we heard it. And I just, and I know even right now, he would say, keep the main thing.
He would. He absolutely would. For those that don't know, we lost a brother today. And he meant a lot. He meant a lot. Tough one for the basketball community. Tough one for Georgia. For anybody that knew, anybody that ever met him, like, this is hard.
Any conversation you had with him, like, basketball or not, like,
I'll just say this: that if you're in the basketball community, you know anybody from Georgia, around Georgia, throughout the basketball community, man, say a prayer for that brother, his family, lovely wife, his kids. You know, I can't imagine what Sharif and the rest of the fam are going through right now. So say a prayer for those individuals as well. Fletch, Donovan, Persian, that whole entire South Florida staff and everybody else that ever worked with him. He was a giant of a man. As I had a conversation before the show, he was called Superman, and I agree, because it was like, and it's part of the reason why I hurt so much, because foolishly, I guess we was like he could do no wrong, nothing could ever happen to him. He was, he embodied a lot of what it meant to be a coach, and he was willing always to share that with all of us. So to everyone who was getting to know him at South Florida and beginning to appreciate him in South Florida, our prayers, our thoughts are absolutely with you guys at this time. But as usual, as it is with Amir, points were made. Points were made. Even in that speech, if this is your first time hearing it, that was after losing in the NCAA tournament with Kennesaw State to Xavier. I think he made a big point. Is when it really boils down to it, when we keep it the main thing, this is basketball, and it should be kept in its proper perspective. And love always has and always will ultimately win. So my prayers to everybody in Tampa and to everybody in Georgia who is feeling the way we feel. We're going to try to have a basketball conversation. Today, Huff, I don't know the proper way to transition like that. But
I don't know if it's a transition, but I'll just say, if we're going back to those words, keep the main thing. And if you go back to that speech on love your family, love the people that love you, love up on them and pray for them.
For sure.
That's what I'll say.
For sure. The conversation I was having was also about him before the show was, I hate that it takes things like this to happen to remind us that so many of the petty beefs that happen within basketball, and maybe the fans don't necessarily know, but maybe they do, maybe they don't, right? But a lot of the little petty beefs that happen within basketball, at the end of the day, this is a game.
Right.
And it ain't that serious, and life is too short.
Yes.
So, like Huff said, if you got people that you haven't talked to, that you know you need to talk to, you need to go make that call. You need to go make that call and make it right. So,
and stop letting things that have no bearing on your future, their future, y'all's future together. It's really not that important. It really isn't. So, yeah.
Amir Abdur-Rahim, head coach of the University of South Florida. I forget sometimes that people watch this show that don't know us and did not know him. Head coach of the University of South Florida men's basketball program. Also got his first head coaching opportunity at Kennesaw State University, flipped a 1-28 team. It took them to the NCAA tournament. Did the same thing in South Florida. South Florida was not 1-28, but flipped a team that was struggling to a team that I believe should have made the NCAA tournament. I think they were 26 wins or 27 wins, something like that. But were on the outside looking in. Lost to UAB and to Andy Kennedy and UAB in the conference tournament. So they were short on getting to the NCAA tournament. I believe that was a travesty. They should have made the tournament. But a great coach, a great brother, somebody who cared about these kids and the community. Great coach, even better person. That is who we lost today. That is the reason for us opening the show the way that we did. But will never be forgotten. We'll try to kind of soldier on. So, Huff, you guys had a game scheduled against South Florida that was supposed to come up, right?
Yeah, next week. Honestly, don't know, and don't know if it even matters, to be honest with you. But it was something that Amir has been gracious. Like, you have guys in this business that, they're your coaching buddies, but then you have guys that are your dudes, your friends, the people you can call. And he's always been that for me. I remember when I got back into college coaching, trying to decide if I was going to do the Voorhees thing, and he was one of the first people that I called and talked to about it. And since that time, at Voorhees, never, come on, coach, I'll play you. I'll help your program out. Same since I've been at Edward Waters. And that's just something small. Like, that's the bigger picture, something everybody else sees, but nobody sees that man that he was. And I think that any coach or anybody that knows him and had his number, he was never afraid to text you back, always would text you back, always would call you back, had to come call to reach out to you. Coach, you all right? You good?
Yep.
And it could be you reaching out to him to make sure he was good, and he was making sure you were good. Like, I don't know about next week, to be honest with you. Basketball wise, you love to play a game, the exhibition game, but in the totality of things, and again, it's ringing in my head. Let's keep the main thing the main thing.
The main thing. Absolutely.
So we will, whatever they feel and deem is appropriate, we will follow suit.
Got you. I haven't reached out to any of these guys. I haven't talked to Fletch. I haven't talked to Donovan. Those are the guys that I was closest to on staff down there. Mostly because once hearing the news, they have enough to deal with and be listening to anything I have to say. So, but just know, don't forget about those guys as well. They need, our prayers and well wishes. Like I say, I wouldn't want to, bombard those guys with anything else to kind of deal with, but thinking of those guys for sure. Well,
yeah.
Huff, I'm trying, man.
I know. It's
yeah. At Waters basketball, there is a non-conference schedule to be played, and what I'm used to seeing, Huff, I feel like what you always do is, goodness gracious, man, you're scheduling like you're trying to make the Division I tournament. Um,
Our non-conference schedule is just obviously in preparation for what we're going to face, obviously in a tough SIAC conference. But, you look at, your Florida Tech, your Rollins, Voorhees, Clayton State, Columbus State, USC, Buford, and Flagler. The D2, D2 NAIs, not counting the 2 exhibitions, but you see varying play styles. You see teams that are have been winners. You talk about 4 Peach Belt schools, and we know what kind of conference the Peach Belt is, and then obviously getting to play 2 schools not that far from us in the D2 conference here in Florida. To challenge ourselves there, obviously challenging yourselves with the 2 D1 exhibitions, and obviously, I used to coach at Voorhees, so I know what they have to offer as a challenge as well. So challenging, not easy, but I feel our guys will be up to the task.
I love the camaraderie amongst the Florida schools that's happening that I see. I love that you and North Florida play each other as well. Of course, we talked about how much it means to go and play South Florida. That game means a lot for a lot of different reasons. I love the Florida camaraderie, man. I hope Jacksonville gets in on this.
Yeah. And I'll say both Coach Driscoll, Coach Mincy and their staffs, Mike Fly, Coach Pierce over at Jacksonville, obviously the staff in North Florida, Bruce Evans and Bobby and those guys, they have been great. Like, not just with if we want to play, but like watching practices and, just sharpening your tool, talking to them to try to get better. And those guys have helped myself and our staff with a lot of things. And so it's good, Yeah, we say we are Duval, and we're going to rep that to the end because we are the only HBCU Division II in Duval. We think we represent the community here, but in actuality, this basketball community, if you add FSCJ in there too, who we scrimmage on Saturday, if you add that school in there too, like, we have a strong basketball community here in Duval, and we want to build and continue to grow in that. It's with our team camps, getting those schools here in Duval involved. So it's just one big family, basketball family. And we just use the season as a way to sharpen our tools. And, those guys have been great for my staff and myself.
For sure. I would love to see, our neighbors down in Gainesville,
Love it.
Florida, get involved. In
the words of, as he used to say his name, as our brother, the chief, the Mr. Gorilla, see why. If Jay Leonard Hamilton ever has a heart at Florida State, little old Edward Waters, we will accept the challenge.
For sure.
Coach Golden at Florida, we will accept the challenge in Gainesville as well. Coach Larinaga in Miami will accept the challenge as well.
Absolutely. Need to make it happen, man. And I do. I think it builds community in Florida amongst the basketball community. I think it's good. Being a Louisville native, people don't realize how important that University of Louisville, Western Kentucky game is to the state. How, Louisville, University of Louisville playing Bellarmine before they were a Division I. At one point in time, I remember when Bellarmine was a Division III and moved up the ladder. I also remember, and maybe I'm dating myself, when Northern Kentucky was a Division II program. A very good one, by the way.
Correct.
And getting those games against either University of Louisville, University of Kentucky, or even Indiana, which is a distant cousin of ours. I don't know how Indiana became that instead of Cincinnati. Cincinnati,
Right. Cincinnati's right there.
right there. It's literally like anyway. Somehow we skipped that and went all the way to Bloomington, and it became Louisville, Kentucky, and Indiana would always have to play each other, right, instead of Cincinnati. But
and I will say, Coach Cal in his time at Kentucky did a great job. My alma mater, I remember Morehouse playing Kentucky.
Yep.
Kentucky State usually gets some of that love as well. So they
They
do a great job.
Yeah, it's one thing that Kenny Payne did a great job of, as well as Kenny Payne would play Simmons every year. The Simmons game needs to come back, and that needs to happen. It's great. It's great for the community. You bring the band, get the bands to come out there, like make it an experience, and it does. It uplifts the entire community with those games. You would think that it doesn't, but at the end of the day, even in times like this, basketball is still our healthy escape.
Yeah.
So, when I see a community that has had to deal with things like what we're dealing with today, but also multiple hurricanes coming through and people being displaced like that is just would be a great way to show camaraderie in the community of having all those Florida teams kind of battle it out.
Yeah.
And play each other. Huff, this wasn't necessarily on our agenda, but you know how I do. Like,
that's why I'm smiling right now. Like, okay.
I found ways to bring stuff up, and I was upset. Honestly, I felt disrespected. The preseason awards came out, and the predicted order of finish came out, and you were very calm about it. I was hot. I didn't like that at all. I don't know if I should even bring it up on the screen or not. I don't want to be disrespectful to anybody else. I won't say that. What I will say is I won't talk about the predicted order of finish. I'll let you guys go look it up. It's on the SIAC website. I will not bring that up and even talk about that because I don't want to make it seem like other teams aren't good. Other teams are really good. So I don't want to make it seem like that.
They are.
However, what I will say is a travesty. There are no Arrow Waters Tigers on first or second team preseason selection.
Just means we got to go prove it, Andre. That's all I say. And our guys are up for the challenge. And we good.
You know what?
Because guess what? At the end of the season, nobody's going to go back to that and say, oh, hey, Mondre Allen was the preseason all-first team. And doesn't really matter, does it? It looks good. It helps. You can put out some great graphics. And we will. And then let me say this. I don't want to make. We would love to have had people there. We would love to have been picked better, whatever the case may be. We feel we have guys on our team that could have been there. But it's all about producing, and that we just want to produce. We want to produce. And so production starts on Saturday. It's already started, but I'm saying like as far as a game versus somebody else.
Right. Yeah. All right. Man, I don't know, man. I don't know, man. Like, I bet. That's all I can say. I bet. Okay. Like Christian Ford doesn't belong on this list. Amari Floyd doesn't belong on this list. Nowhere. First, hey, second team. Nowhere. but magically this team was in the. All right, bro. Okay. Cool. You had guys on the list that if you go back and look at the team record, does winning, I guess this is the thing. Serious question.
Mm-hmm.
Because who votes? Players or coaches?
Coaches and SIDs vote.
Coaches and SIDs vote.
Mm-hmm.
Does record or tournament success, does any of that matter or should it matter in this? I feel like it should.
It should. I can't speak for everybody. I think it should. You know, you look at a kid like who made second team, the big fella from Clark, and if you just were to look at points per game, you would say, but that kid impacted every moment he was on the floor, rebounding, block shots, and obviously that's why he's, you know, he was conference player of the year at the end of the season. He's preseason conference player of the year. Just using him as an example. So
100%.
And he's a reason why Clark was able to win the regular season
and
win the conference tournament.
Absolutely.
One of the, not gonna say the only, but one of the reasons, definitely.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Records should matter. You can't give me a kid and tell me their first team preseason all conference, and he was on that team last year, and
well,
they were out in the first round.
The question I'll ask you is, if we project ourselves, you know, high school should be projected to college, college should be projected to the pros. Do we say the same thing about the all NBA team?
We should.
But do we? It's just a question. I would have to go back and thoroughly dissect it. I don't know.
I would have to go look. I would hope.
And I think they do, though, but I would have to go look.
It's like when I go back to the series, you know, I can't say that because that's postseason. I would have to go back and look. I gotta dissect it. I hope it matters because I hope what we're not doing at any level is you can score a bunch of points. I guess I'll say it like this. It's harder to get 25 in a game that you lose by 4 or win by 4 than it is to get 25 in a game that you lost by 25. If you lost by 25 and you got 25, I mean, none of those shots were tight. It didn't really matter. Like, you know what I mean? You're playing against people's second unit. And again, I'm not even talking about anybody specific on this list because I saw some. Never mind. Let me skip it. Let's go. I'm talking about somebody's kid. I don't want to talk about anybody's kid. I don't want no smoke. I ain't got no just voters. Can we please take into account where these teams finished and where you think they're going to finish this season when you think about these preseason awards and not just go straight to the stat sheet, because that's what people who don't watch basketball do. They go straight to the stat sheet and just say how many did he get or what does he average, and that's how they make their decisions. And that is ultimately what I'm saying that I disagree with. Let's not do that. Don't want no smoke, not calling anybody out. But let's not do that. Okay.
Hey, fire the rise, like Coach Reedy said. Fire the rise.
It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. Okay. We've missed quite a bit since we've been in. Like practices started, the guys moved in on campus. These are normally separate shows, right?
Right.
We talk about move-in day and anticipating the first practice and what it is you're looking for and all that stuff. All this stuff is already taking place. Give us an update on the guys, man. How are the guys doing? We'll come back and talk about the conference schedule in a moment. We talked about the non-conference, but how are the guys doing? Um, how's everybody feeling?
We feel good. Obviously, we're competing every day in practice. They're battling. Um, they're working to be better. They're learning from and with one another, and they're really embodying a lot of the things that we wanted them to embody this year. Uh, whether that was one more, what can we get one more of? We wanted to embody playing to win with the confidence to finish, and playing the right way because I'm always transparent and honest. And one of the great things that happened for us last year, which some people don't know, is that we finished top 50 in Division II in possessions per game, and that was great. That's our pace of play is really good, but we've got to even be better, have more efficient possessions, playing that way. And so what that boils down for us is that last year when we shot the ball well, created turnovers, and scored more than 70 points, it was very difficult to beat us if you really go look at the numbers. I think Coach Britt told me this week if we were looking, if we weren't top 3, we were number 1 in creating turnovers in the league. But when we weren't able to create those turnovers, when we didn't shoot it well and we didn't score over 70, it was kind of tough for us to grind out games usually. And I think that's been our focus, not just in recruiting, but our focus with our team of being able to execute when it matters. Not just a good shot or a great shot, but let's take it even further. What's the best shot for our team at that particular moment? So those are the things that we've really been working on in practice, making sure guys get, understand roles, making sure they understand playing with each other. And I think every team, we're not back in the days of 10, 20 years ago when you kind of knew your team coming back other than the 2-3 new guys. I think every team has an influx of new guys that come in that, have to understand what you want as a coach and a coaching staff, what they're needed from this team, which may be totally different than what they were asked to do in high school, at a JUCO, or if they were a transfer. So all those things matter, but our guys have really been putting in the work. Obviously, because of hurricanes, we missed some time. But we have worked to make sure we have gotten that time back to be ready to go when it's time to really suit up and play somebody else. And I like this squad. I think our coaching staff likes this squad. Are there things we have to get better at? I think every coach would say that right now. But there's some things we feel we really do well. And I think you'll be able to see that when we play. And I know you've seen some practices, and I think you can see that as well.
Yeah, with the physicality that I see in practice and how hard these guys are playing, are we injury free? Is anybody nicked up? Can the fans expect to see everybody in uniform and ready to go come Saturday?
I think
I don't want to give out anything that anybody don't know, but just
I think when you go through any time from preseason to now, there are going to be some nicks and some bumps and some bruises.
For sure.
But again, we like the depth that we have on this squad, and if they are nicked up, they'll be back pretty soon if they're not already back doing what they're supposed to do on the court. So I think this is, last year. Let's talk about last year. Nicks and bumps. We go into the conference tournament, and Amari Floyd was a key part of us, and he didn't play the first 2 games and tried to play the 3rd game in the conference tournament in the quarterfinals on one leg, and he wasn't Amari Floyd, so we basically couldn't play him. And then you Goliath, who was our leading scorer last year, gets hurt in the 2nd game in the conference tournament, and he's out. Like this year, we feel we have depth to withstand when those things can happen to us, right? So that's been the best. That's one of the best things we can say. One of the best things we can say about this team so far.
The next thing that people are going to want to know, people always want to know, not just the new faces, but but the young faces, some of the freshmen, how are some of the freshmen doing when you talk about Jalen and some of these other guys that are coming in as freshmen? How are our freshman guys doing?
Man, I will say from day one to now, Carter Hankerson has like took a tremendous step. Like a freshman big who, when you're the biggest dude on your high school team, like understanding what it means to be a college player and banging with these older guys every day, the Joes and the Adonises, and even his freshman counterpart, Amari Davis. Like he's really stepped up to the plate and has helped us in practice. But Miles Halston has really stood out. Obviously, I think his time playing in the Euro, the under 20 for Great Britain really helped him. He just has a unique ability to do some things as a freshman. Jalen was one of the ones that got banged up, who's back now, and we still are very high on him. His ability to defend and make shots is a premium. Like I don't think that can be understated. And Amari Davis is, he was a late add for us in our recruiting class, and it's starting to click. It's starting to click for him in a way that's good. Like he's a versatile big who can not only beat you up in the paint, but can step out and make shots on the outside. And I think he's really starting to understand what he needs to do to be effective at this level. So we're really excited about these young fellas, man. We feel they have an opportunity to not just help us down the line, but help us immediately.
I gotta ask something roster related also that people may not be thinking about. How do the red shirt guys from last year, when you talk about Josh Good and Gabe Guilford, those guys that how are they able to help and jump in? Guys that know what you're expecting, know the drills, know what to do. Are they helping some of these new guys, not just the freshmen, but some of the transfer players that came in? Are they helping those guys get adjusted?
You can see the difference in those guys, like not just body-wise, but maturity, communication-wise. Like Gabe, has really been more vocal and making sure people know where to go, where to be. That was a big part of when we had our inter-season meeting, what I wanted him to do, other than just get stronger. And Josh has really improved as well. He's a little banged up right now, but Josh has really improved as well. And those two guys have helped us in practice, in film, and everything that we're doing because they bought into what they saw last year and say, okay, how do I fit in this and how can I help now? As well as making sure I'm in the weight room, I'm in the best condition in my life. I understand what Coach Huff and the staff wants from us.
For sure. You don't understand, to win a championship, it takes a total team effort. Like you can't forget anybody. One of the things that I noticed, and I made a note to myself, was just, I said, oh, the gym is loud. The gym is loud now. And not just from you guys.
Right.
The gym is picking up from a player perspective that those guys talking, and it takes that type of buy-in for great things to happen. How are you feeling about that so far?
It's funny because our women's coach, Coach Jackson, who we had on once he got hired near the end of our last season's shows, it was one of the things he mentioned to us. He said, "Man, I heard you guys from outside the gym, so I knew it must be good." Right?
Yeah.
Do we want our communication to be better? We do, and we talk about it every day. We want elite communication. But I think if you were to walk in our practice, you would hear us. You would see guys coaching each other up. A player-led team is going to go a lot further than a coach-led team. And I think a lot of times, coming into a program and taking over, and especially, we hired the right guys. There's no doubt about it. But I hadn't worked with any of those guys. So they too were learning. Everyone was learning last year on the fly. Now you see, like even our players have mentioned, like, man, like, boom, 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 like you see everybody's talking. Like there's no, a lot of times early last year, because everybody was new. They were trying to learn what I wanted. It was a lot of me. And that's not what it's supposed to be, right? And
Right.
if you would, and you've seen practice, and you see whether it's Coach Reedy, whether it's Coach Britt, whether it's Coach like whoever it is, they're coaching, they're leading, right? And so at any moment you can see we can be anybody's assistant coach. It ain't, it's not about me. And that's that communication from the top down, from myself to the assistants, to the players, of us coaching each other up. Hey coach, I don't that play. You think we can tweak that right there? Okay. Well, Coach Reedy, what play do you like? Hey, you handle this, and Coach Britt, you handle this. Whatever the case may be, and the players saying the same thing. Well, Coach, I see this, right? So it's been really good. Communication's been good. Obviously, like I will stress this, and I'll say this: this could be a March show. It's got to be better.
100%. We got a little footage, man. We want to bring up. We got a little practice footage. We'll bring this up, and we'll be right back.
Go, Carter. Go ahead, Carter. Go ahead, Carter.
Man, it feels good to see my guy RJ Nord moving and being fluid and looking like how he's looking, man. Oh, that felt great.
He took the challenge of what we asked of him postseason in our meetings, and he came back accepting the challenge. Like the RJ that most people who saw him before remember.
For sure. That is going to be a special treat to watch. Most people didn't understand that he was trying to knock off 2 years of rust and not playing.
And I also tell people, if you're able to see him go into Elon, then saw him last year, like he's a competitor, and he's so not being able to do what he wanted to do, being on the floor at Elon. So he took that and said, I'm going to be in the weight room.
Yeah.
And
bulked up.
Yeah. Still average 8 and 5, but that wasn't the RJ that everybody knew.
8 and 5 for most players is a
having not played in 2 years, basically.
Yeah, a great year, right? For most players, we knew RJ was capable of so much more, and seeing that confidence and fluidity, and especially that one-on-one game. RJ is a king of the court savant, right? Like a bucket getter, as that walking bucket, as they say. So it's great to see him moving like that. It's great.
Explosion is back with him, man. We love to see it.
Yeah, for sure. Coach, have there been any surprises?
In terms of what? Like, what do you
like? Anything that after you watch practice that you go back and y'all get back in the coach's meeting, you be like, I didn't know that he, you know what I mean? Like I knew this was gonna be good, but I didn't know, this was gonna happen, or this kid was gonna look like that.
I mean, I think it's really up and down our roster. Even though you recruit and you bring people back, I think everybody, what we're able to do collectively, like that's what we're like, okay.
Right.
Like that's something special right there. Like we feel we can bottle that up, and it changes things for us. Like I'll say this: we love our wings, and that's not like our wings are going to be able to help us do a lot of things this year, and that's not taken away from any other position because we feel those same positions. But it's what our wings are able to do on both sides of the basketball. It's going to be really special to watch.
Are we the Boston Celtics? Is that what you're telling me?
Man, they hit how many threes? I ain't even talking about threes. They were lighting it up game 1.
5 threes. Hey, man. Hey, listen. Your Hawks are a basketball team. We'll get to that.
We will. Yeah. I have a lot to say on that because I watched the game intently last night.
Oh, let's get to it. Let's talk about we got to the team. Let's talk a little bit about the conference schedule and some of the games out here. Coach, which one of these is homecoming? Who we got? What's going on?
I ain't gonna say a homecoming, but obviously our rival is Savannah State, and I ain't gonna lie to you, they whooped our tail when we went there last year. So obviously that's a big one when you're talking about playing Savannah State. But all of these games are tough, man. There's no easy game on our schedule when you talk about conference scheduling and have to start conference on the road. Going to Ohio and Kentucky. That's definitely going to be tough. And, obviously making that trip to Miles and Spring Hill, 2 tough road trips. 4 out of the first 6 games are tough road trips. But obviously we know what this conference brings, man, on both sides. So just excited about all these games, man. Like, how will we respond, versus Morehouse this year? How will we respond versus defending conference champion, versus Benedict, versus Allen, Fort Valley, Albany? Like, it just Tuskegee, just Lane, Lemoyne. It doesn't matter. It's a tough conference, tougher than I think. We said this last year. I don't think people give this conference enough credit. Last year, if you talk about Clark, Morehouse, Miles, and Benedict, that were 4 teams that won 20-plus games.
Coach, you know what I would love to see?
What's that?
I would love to see, and it kind of quasi happens anyway because of how you guys schedule. I would love to see a Peach Belt versus the SIAC challenge to start the year.
Well, it's funny. We don't get that actual one like where it's that big, but it's
basically kind of pseudo happens, right?
It's pseudo happening when we play Columbus and Clayton State.
For sure.
Because it's us and Miles that'll be in that one there.
Yeah.
And then when we go to Rollins and Florida Tech, it's us in Spring Hill. So we kind of get a situation where we get a little bit of it to test ourselves, if God forbid you don't win the conference, you want to make sure you've played enough tough games and preferably gotten W's versus guys outside your conference who are good enough. So those, little tournaments are really big for us not just as Edward Waters, but as the SIAC period. And the other ones that guys are playing in, whether it's your Benedicts or your Allens, whoever they're playing as well.
I would love to see that. I would love to see maybe a HBCU go who the SIAC signed their TV or media rights contract with. I don't know how familiar they are with some of these conferences outside of the HBCU space, but a company like HBCU Go that has a little money, got some financial backing, that could do some things when it comes to TV and advertising. I would love to see that challenge take place, either that or maybe the CIAA. CIAA probably from a travel standpoint would be a little tougher to do.
Probably have to put it in a central location, and I think they try to do some of it with the HBCU tournament. They have if I'm not mistaken, last year I think they had Morehouse and somebody else, and they played maybe it was Bowie State. I can't remember who they played, but I think they do a little bit of it.
And I think it was at Morehouse as well.
Yeah, it was at Morehouse. Yep.
I would love to see that take place, and maybe you don't have the same teams in it every year, so the travel isn't as bad for everybody every single year. Maybe you rotate some of the matchups. I think it will be great for Division II basketball. Whether it's the Peach Belt or Gulf Coast or some conference like that, I think it would be great to get those matchups, man. Elevate the game. So
And as we're talking, just today, we want to give props to Tuskegee and Morehouse. They're going to be playing out in the Bay at the NBA All-Star game for the HBCU Classic out there. They're going to play their game out there. So congrats to Coach Witt and Coach Taylor and Tuskegee and Morehouse for that. That's a huge thing.
For sure. And, if HBCU Go, if you guys are just so happen to be listening and you want to take that idea and run with it, the only thing that I require is just a media pass to come to the game. Just cover the game. Don't worry about it. No trademark infringement, none of that. I haven't named it. You don't have to name it after me. You can name it after me if you want to. I think it's a fantastic idea. But, yeah, I think that would be great. I think it's good TV. I think you've got good TV markets that would care enough about it to watch it. I think advertisers will care about it if you did it the right way, and it would be good basketball. So, just my 2 cents on what could be added there. Coach, you guys, I didn't get a chance to watch it, especially with the news that we got today. But did you hear anything, or did you get a chance to watch any of the coverage that Edward Waters got on Roland Martin's show tonight?
Saw a little bit of it, and it was just great. Having the mayor of Jacksonville there, at Edward Waters and Adam Jenkins, where we play, and senators and him doing his show there. I think it was great publicity for us, and just to talk about real things that are going on. We are less than 2 weeks away from a pivotal point in this country.
I was looking for my sticker, but I just
I voted already as well.
Voted early.
I know it's funny because one of my players was asking, making sure, Coach, when I'm going to have a chance to go vote, and I told him when. We would be off so he could go vote. I know who I'm voting for, or who I did vote for. Yes. I can't tell anybody else who they should vote. I'm just going to say, make sure you vote.
Yes.
Because that's the only way you can impact change and have a voice. Because if you don't vote, then you don't really have a say.
I've had some very interesting conversations with my son here recently, who it will be his first presidential election voting, and is taking it really seriously, is doing research, and asking me, questions like, he's asking questions like, how do I look up this person's record? Are they voted? How do I know what they voted for? So we've been going and looking up voting history. For those that don't know, that is public record. You can look up voting history. You can look up what I was just looking at the GDP numbers today. When you talk about the economy and people say, oh, well, this person had a better economy than this other person, there are numbers that actually have to prove that. And I think everyone should go look up what those numbers are. And people assume that, oh, well, that doesn't count for inflation. No, real GDP. Go Google what is the real GDP between these two administrations, and do your research, and then figure out how you feel about what you find. Right?
That's what I'll say. Do your research. There's a lot of research out there that you can find out a lot of information about stuff that's being said.
Yes. On
social media, on news outlets, that from both sides is not true. I'm just
one of my favorite pastimes is, and one of the greatest tools ever when it comes to election research, is YouTube. Because every speech that every candidate ever made is on YouTube. And the fun thing about that is, and I do this just past time sometimes, I'm just wired that way when it comes to politics. I love to go and look up, hey, well, what was everybody saying in 2016? Okay, what was everybody saying in 2020? And what is everybody saying now? And you go back and you look what was said or what was promised, and then you get to go use Google and go look up exactly what was done, and make your opinion off of that. Again, I would never sway anybody on who to vote for. I would never even try.
Right.
It is, as a black person in this country, number one, you have to understand that it hasn't been all that long that we've even been able to vote.
Correct. Very correct.
So, instead of fighting about who you vote for, go do the research and be a real American patriot and just exercise your right to do so. Yes. Participate in the process, not just for presidential elections, but your general elections and
midterms, all of that.
Absolutely.
Because, it's just not the presidential election that matters. It's everything. A lot of these policies and bills that get passed really have nothing to do with the president. They have to get passed before it even reaches his desk, his or her desk. Let me correct that, because we don't know where this is going now.
Congress has a job.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. That is something that to have a conversation with young people about. I've talked to some young people that thought that Congress worked for the president. No. I mean, they may belong to the same party, but they're not supposed to work for him. They're supposed to work for the people that they're assigned to represent.
Maybe things have changed, and maybe I'm telling my age, but I remember we had to, in social studies class, we had to learn that stuff. Like
high school civics. I try to give the young folks credit. I didn't have a iPhone to distract me when I was in school, so maybe just a little distracted. But all those votes matter because the budgets that control who can do what and how the laws get made and what bills become, like a lot of that thing comes from the Congress and the House, and they have roles. So participate. And listen, don't worry so much about whether or not you're right or wrong. If this is your first election, do your best. Research, give your best effort, right? And as long as you give your best effort and you vote with your heart, with your conscience, you did good. And you'll learn as you go. You don't have the same life experience as myself or maybe Huff has. I can go back several presidents, right? I remember what life was like, even back to when Bill Clinton was president. Like, I remember that. I lived that. For a lot of you young people, you did not live that. You may not even remember. You may remember who Barack Obama is, but just think about it, Huff. There are these young kids you don't remember Barack Obama being elected, right? You don't have a memory of, I was there, I watched it, you have no recollection of that. Right. So you may not really remember or understand what life was like under his administration. So,
or you may not remember that Make America Great Again is not something new.
It is not new. It is not new at all.
Do your research on Ronald Reagan and see what you find.
Yeah, I'm not a fan, but again, do your research. Do your research. Another president from back in the day that I remember as a child. I understand,
Reaganomics. That's what you remember?
Yeah,
and a lot of other stuff.
I'm trying not to go there.
Hey, let's go because we go. Let's go off on a tangent.
Yes, I really will. But to young people, I'm really just trying to encourage you. You don't have that life experience, and that's okay. Don't stop getting in these arguments with your friends about being. My son keeps texting me, but stop getting in these arguments with your friends, and stop being so scared about being wrong or right, or being with this crowd or that crowd, or voting for this person makes me this type of person, or that person makes me this type of person. Stop listening, block all of that out. Go spend, I don't care how much time it is, go spend some time in front of that phone that you love so much, or in front of that laptop, and just put the time in to do some research, and then go vote based on your heart, based on your conscience. And if you do that, you did great. And every year that you live from this point forward, you'll learn a little bit more. You'll learn a little bit more, and you'll do better every time that you go vote. You'll do a little bit better. It'll mean a little bit more to you, But please participate. Don't talk yourself out of participating in the process for any reason at all, because that would be horrible.
Yes,
that would be horrible. All right, that's as far as my tangent will go. Huff, you mentioned Media Day took place. That's a lot of fun.
It is. I think our guys realize it's for them, not for us. But they enjoyed it. They were able to debut some things, and it had the whole picture hasn't come out yet. But if you follow, Edward Waters men's basketball, you can see little tidbits, and until the whole thing gets dropped. But guys had fun. Obviously because of the hurricane, we had to reschedule. But hey, guys enjoyed it. They had fun yesterday.
Good stuff. That always, between Media Day and a Midnight Madness, that always.
Ooh, now there you go. How about this?
Breaking news!
Halloween night, 7 p.m. Tiger Madness. Be there with a special guest. I wonder who that could be.
It's not me, but it'll still be special.
Still be special. Special music. How about special musical guest?
Okay, so that means it's probably somebody a lot better than me.
And it's going to be a great time, and here's why. You're going to be able to take place in that. We're going to have some trunk or treat outside. So we want your kids out there. And then our old gym is going to be turned into a haunted house. So it's one for the community. It's not just basketball. It's for the community. Tiger Madness, October 31st, 7 p.m.
What is the cutoff for trick-or-treating? Like, what's the age cutoff for trick-or-treating?
I don't know. Like,
show.
We do want people to dress up. Just no mask. But
okay.
Dress up. Let's have the festivities. Let's have some fun on Halloween night.
Much needed. Make sure y'all pack it out.
And so you'll see some more stuff, media and and everything come out about that here shortly. It's a big thing on our campus.
For sure. How have I missed anything?
Reedy giving you a hard time.
Reedy is always gonna give me a hard time.
I don't. Before we get to the Hawks, we can't get out with. Obviously, we missed so much community service, man. We were blessed to spend some time on Serving Saturday with one of our sponsors, First Coast Community Development, and we were just feeding feeding the people of Jacksonville. I will say it that way. I think you have a little clip of that.
We got some footage. Here we go.
Great Saturday, man. It was a great Saturday.
My guy Sammy is gonna be so well versed in American Southern culture by the time he goes back to France. I'm telling you, he may not go back. He may not go back. He is getting you are getting a first class trip into what it means to be a Southerner here in the United States, buddy. I'm telling you, that looked like that food was good too. You got the right music playing.
No,
like that.
There was some line dances that broke out.
Listen, buddy, I'm telling you, hey, Sammy, man, soak it all in, my brother.
Yeah. Enjoy the moment, as we tell them. Enjoy the moment.
Yeah, for sure. No, that it's great. I love that serving the community is always a part of the program. So that's great to see.
We did that, and we obviously we right before the Jaguar season, we went down to the Jaguar Stadium and we did bags for them as well. So we are Duval is not just a saying; it's who we are. It's who we are. Like, we're about this community.
For sure. Catfish fried hard, Sammy.
Hey, if we're talking about catfish fried hard, before you show that picture, the calf, yes, sir.
The new cafeteria,
yes, sir.
Hey, man.
Yep. Hey.
Yep. Huge donation for tennis came through.
Yes. There's so much going on. I know. I feel like we haven't talked to so much going on, and
we miss a lot. No, great job. I do want to say, extension in place. AD locked in. Mm-hmm. Everybody locked in. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good. I'm going to leave it at that. Y'all know where I'm going, but I'm feeling good. I'm feeling real good. No, it's good. It's good to have great leadership in place, steering the ship. My hat's off. For those that may not know, and I'll get to the Hawks after this, but for those that may not know, Huff, you and I were a part of a lot of phone calls. Before you were coaching at an HBCU, we were a part of a lot of phone calls about athletics within the HBCU space. What was going well, what was going great, what was going not so great. And we were both speaking from you previously had been at Alcorn anyway, but now at that point you were coaching high school, and we were both speaking from hey, we are at the grassroots level, and here's what we see from our side of the fence and what we want to see from you. Here are the stories that we want to hear more about from you. What I can say from a media standpoint at Edward Waters, what I wish would happen is that more networks and more media folks would pick up the things that are happening there, because Edward Waters is checking a lot of boxes from a staff perspective and from what you guys are doing. We've seen Coach Jackson recruiting in Georgia at the JUCO event. So, you guys get out, you're present in the community, you're around, but this administration also is doing a lot of things right and checking a lot of boxes. It needs to be talked about even more than what it is, because it's everything that we were saying that we wanted to see. And we felt like if we wanted to see these things, we would support it. And I can't tell you guys enough, for the faithful of Edward Waters, the alumni, the current students, the community of Jacksonville, this is a school that's doing a lot of things the right way. And they deserve your support. So go support the Tiger Club.
Yep, exactly. And I'll throw this last one in. We just, if I'm not mistaken, Coach Reed, I know Coach Reed will correct me if he's still on. Yesterday or today, we opened our review in the gym where our guys can not go into the calf and come get shakes, protein bars, all that kind of stuff. Like, Like we're stepping up the game. We truly are. Our new academic success center. Like there are different things that have been going on, just in my time there, and I haven't been there long. But just what Dr. Faison and Dr. Rich, as our athletic director, have been doing have really been great.
Fantastic job.
There you go. I knew shakes, bars, fruits, etc.
Oh, so I gotta when I stop by, I can Really? Do I need to put in my order? Coach, I'll end on this. If any of your bigs start playing like Big O from the Hawks,
woo, Big O. Hey, Big O had himself a night.
Did you know it was coming?
He had been trending that way, to be honest with you, in his time. You really look at, and here's what's crazy. Like, as good of a player as DeJounte Murray was, it just wasn't a fit. Like, you can't have two guys who have to have the ball. So you're playing, somebody's got to play without the ball. It doesn't fit either one of them. But not only did you say, okay, what can we get from him? But you got a top level defender,
yes,
who could go next to him, to Trae Young. They're young, man. Like, they're old but young, if that makes sense. Like, they're not their first and second year in the league, but they're also not 8-9 years in the league either. Like, obviously Clint is a vet, but you're talking about Jalen Johnson, who just signed his new deal, and DeAndre Hunter, and like we said, Dyson Daniels, and you got Trae, and you bring in the Olympic guy who really made a name for himself. And this is what I deal with Reedy all the time. Like,
hey, Reedy, that's a terrible thing to say after this game because they actually look good.
Yeah, I mean, you bring Bogdanovich off the bench. You got obviously the rookie who, is probably exceeding expectations right now. Like,
if I like him,
yeah, like
I like him.
Big O. They've got pieces, and again, the real backup point guard is Kobe Bluffton, who's just in his second year, but he just kind of got banged up. So he played well before getting hurt. So they got pieces, man. Now, East is tough, so I'm not gonna go proclaim a championship or anything like that. And yes, Coach Reedy, the Orlando Magic played well. Yes, they did. What else do you want us to say, Coach Reedy? Like,
they're really good.
Pablo went off in 3 quarters. He did.
But I will say this: it's not. You know me. I'm super hard on the Hawks. I always have been. I always give you grief about it.
You do.
But I did call you and tell you, or text you and tell you, for the first time ever, I watched a Hawks basketball game and I was like,
okay,
this makes sense. Right. Like, the pieces make sense. There's no one on the team, well, maybe one guy, but that I'm looking at and screaming, you got to trade this guy. Like, not that he's a bad player, but before, like, I look at it like, I love Josh Smith, right? I did as a player, but I feel like it would have helped the Hawks and it would have helped Josh if they would have moved him earlier.
True.
We would have got more value. I think the Hawks would have taken a jump, but I also think Josh Smith would have taken an even bigger jump as well. Sometimes it's just, and DeAndre Hunter.
I was wondering. So now you're calling them out. I see what you're doing right now.
Bro, I don't know. But I see a whole lot of guys that can really dribble, pass, and shoot. And then I see a rim protecting big that can also score. And then I see you. And it's like, but okay, we'll see.
Hey, what like I shouldn't say this. I really shouldn't. There are really key words that they say. He's got a 7'2" wingspan.
You start telling me about the wingspan. When you start, oh man, yeah,
Oh man,
wish for the best though. But the team makes sense.
Yeah.
I see what they're building. I'm looking forward to it. But guys, I want to thank everybody for sticking it out with us. Reedy, even you, man. Reedy, Reedy's tough, man. Reedy's tough.
No,
Reedy's tough. I like the kid. But want to thank everybody for tuning in. Make sure you go vote. And serious, man. Call, check on your family.
Yep.
Go check on the person that you just stopped speaking to intentionally. Like, go check on that guy. Because gotta keep the main thing the main thing. Well, we started on that. I would like to end on that. I believe that's appropriate. Go do what you need to do. So love you guys. Hey, Huff, is there gonna be live stream?
Oh, always.
So what time? Saturday, so I can make sure.
Oh, now, hold on. Saturday will not be. Saturday Saturday's a closed scrimmage, but after Saturday, yes.
Okay, gotcha. Y'all gave us the closed scrimmage last year too.
Yeah.
So
it's like the D1s, the secret closed scrimmages.
Yeah.
Even though I don't think some of theirs are like those.
The reporting always gets out. Like, so
I see copies of a whole score sheet, but anyway.
So, but no, appreciate you guys. We'll be looking forward to a Huff as you guys go watching you guys play. So good luck to you guys. Appreciate y'all. Thank y'all.